You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you. India gears up for historic consecration ceremony in Ayodhya's Ram Mandir. Hundreds of Indian workers turn up for mass recruitment drive to work in war-torn Israel. And Sri Lanka to continue drug crackdown despite rights group concerns. And now for all the details. Religious fervour has gripped India as people await the historic consecration ceremony of Hindu god Ram's idol in Ayodhya's Ram Mandir on 22nd of January. Grand preparations have been taken ahead of the event. Take a look.
As India awaits the grand opening of the Ram temple in Ayodhya on January 22nd, authorities have left no stones unturned ahead of the ceremony. Ahead of the Vedic ceremony, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath visited the ancient town on Friday to take stock of the arrangements and preparations for the mega event. A large influx of pilgrims has already arrived in Ayodhya, while authorities expect about 4.5 million Hindu pilgrims a month after the inauguration of the temple.
आज जो अयोध्या देख रहे हैं आप लोग, ऐसा कभी हम लोगों ने सपने में भी नहीं सोचा था, क्योंकि जब गोलीकांड हुई उस समय के भी हम साक्षी हैं और कार सेवा में भी साक्षी हैं। उस समय के अयोध्या और आज के अयोध्या में जमीन आसमान का अंतर है। आज तो लग रहा है जैसे पूरा ब्रह्मांड, पूरा विश्व, पूरा वैकुंठ, पूरा स्वर्ग जो है आज धरती पे उतर आया है। 33 करोड़ देवी देवता मान लीजिए आज उत्सव मना रहे हैं। आज पूरा विश्व, पूरा भारत राममय हो गया है।
Meanwhile, as the rituals ahead of the main ceremony entered the fourth day, idol of Lord Ram was placed inside the sanctum sanctorum of the temple. The idol depicts Lord Ram as a 5-year-old child standing on a lotus, also crafted from the same stone. The consecration ceremony on Monday will be spearheaded by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. His party BJP had long pledged completion of the temple project, which cost more than $240 million.
And Indian ministers touted the country's economic progress and future prospects during the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum that concluded on Friday. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri highlighted the country has climbed from the 10th to the 5th largest economy. While IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw said the impressive growth was down to factors including inclusive growth, focus on manufacturing and the simplification of bureaucratic processes to reduce the restrictions on companies and entrepreneurs.
India has seized the moment. Why do I say that? I say that because you're not just transitioning from the 10th largest economy to the 5th largest economy. You're growing at 7.2% last 3 quarters. The coming quarter and the next year, all the forecasters and all those who make it their professional duty to assess evolving situations are pointing a good picture.
And with 95% confidence interval, we can all make an assessment that whole of the next decade will be growing, India will be growing at 6 to 8%, mostly on the upper side of this band, with a moderate inflation of 4 to 6% in a very consistent way.
Economy is going to be the central issue as India's PM Modi seeks a third term in elections this year. India under his leadership has taken steps to encourage global companies to set up their manufacturing units in the country and has ambitions to become a chip maker for the world. Moving on, scores of men queued in India's northern state of Haryana during a recruitment drive to send workers to Israel, where the offensive in Gaza now is in 4th month has caused a shortage of workers. Masons, painters, electricians, plumbers and some farmers said they were looking for jobs in Israel, with some willing to risk going to a conflict zone because they could make 5 times more money in a year than they would at home.
सारी पैसों की होती है। अगर अपनी जगह पे अच्छे पैसे मिले तो बंदा बाहर क्यों जाएगा? बंदा क्यों भटकेगा इधर उधर? क्यों अपने 2-3 दिन खराब करके कहीं और इंटरव्यू देने के लिए जाएगा?
This month, an Israeli financial daily reported that the country planned to bring in around 70,000 foreign workers from China, India and elsewhere to boost its construction sector, which has been largely frozen since the October 7 Hamas attack. Thousands of Palestinian construction workers are now barred from entering the country in the wake of the Hamas attack. Pakistan top civilian and military leaders on Friday carried out a security review regarding the standoff with neighboring Iran. Chaired by caretaker Prime Minister, the meeting was aimed to hold broad review of the situation in the aftermath of the Iran-Pakistan incidents. Tensions had flared up after Iran earlier this week conducted drone and missile strikes in Pakistan-administrated territory. Pakistan's Foreign Office said it too conducted retaliatory strikes on separatist militants inside Iran. Islamabad has also expelled Iranian ambassador and has called back their representative from Tehran. The move has deepened worries about Middle East instability that has spread since the Israel-Hamas war. The United Nations and USA have urged both sides to exercise restraint warning of an escalation of regional conflict in South and Central Asia. Pakistan's former Prime Minister and PML-N supremo Nawaz Sharif kickstarted his party's campaign on Thursday for the general election slated to be held in February. At a rally in Punjab, Hafizabad, Sharif was greeted by thousands of supporters who cheered and waved party flags to welcome their leader. Sharif said he wanted to make the country stand on its feet and that there would not have been massive unemployment if he had not been removed from power. The three-time premier has pledged to rebuild the country's $350 billion economy, which is battling high inflation, an unstable currency and low foreign exchange reserves. Analysts believe Pakistan's powerful military has thrown its backing to Sharif after it was locked in a standoff with his main rival and former Premier Imran Khan, who has been jailed and disqualified from contesting. That gives Nawaz Sharif an edge in a country where army generals mostly decide on making or breaking governments elected by the civil polls. International rights groups and the UN Human Rights Commission have expressed concern over an increasingly intensified anti-drug crackdown in Sri Lanka that has led to over 40,000 arrests along with reports of torture and associated public shaming. The crackdown codenamed Yuktiya, which means justice, kicked off in December with police and army personnel raiding residents and searching vehicles and individuals. The campaign has a June deadline of ending the drug menace within the country.
These arrests are being made very arbitrarily. There's no reasonable suspicion. The kind of people who are arrested have lower marginalized sort of economic status. The fact that the way in which the operation is carried out, there's cavity searches, there's sort of strip searches also in public, some of it televised. It's really giving a lot of concern for human rights organizations.
Facing mounting criticism, Sri Lanka's public security minister defended the crackdown on Thursday, wanting to continue the operation in the same way, claiming of steadfast public support.
The UN Human Rights Commission statement I saw, they can issue statements, I will not stop this operation. We will go ahead and we will do it the same way because we know that we are doing something good for the children of this country, for the women of this country, and that is why the general public is wholeheartedly with us in these operations. If we are doing anything wrong on ground, right, people are not going to support us like this.
US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has ruled out any perception of not recognizing the fourth straight term of Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. During a press briefing, Miller said that the country will maintain its partnership with Bangladesh on various issues, including trade. But he expressed concern over the election time violence and urged the Bangladesh government to credibly and transparently investigate to hold perpetrators accountable and also asked all parties to reject political violence. The US was critical to the general elections boycotted by the opposition BNP. The State Department had also announced a visa restriction policy long before the elections to ensure free and fair polling. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.